Welcome to the Lander Bet Sports Betting Show. 3 NBA games on Monday. Going to be a little bit of a weird week as we have 2 games on Tuesday, 2 games on Wednesday with the NBA Cup. The quarterfinals getting into action there. But we are going to be taking a look at a couple of the games here on this slate. The first one is nasty with Indiana and Sacramento. Don't even have any lines up for that one. Only have lines up for Phoenix in their game. But we're going to be taking a look at that one and the Spurs and the Pelicans. Get into some of the bets that we might be able to make here on Monday with some of the insights and the matchup data. Looking at the Swissland model. I'm going to use that model a little bit more tonight since we don't quite have as many lines available. We'll see what the projections are on the model as it's already got stuff up, knowing that those games are coming tomorrow. So excited to show you that. If that all sounds good, give this video a like. Let's jump right into things. The aforementioned Swissland projections model that we'll be looking at here up on landerbets.com do have a nice little sale going on for the projections. If you're interested in jumping in and getting access to this chart that we've got here with everything pulling through, we'll go ahead and go through it. We are going to be using PropsMadness as well. This is where we look at some matchup data, the past lines that have been available. Really nice way to just sort of check all of the advanced filters that we have to help us find those little plays that might be sneaky to find. But this is code LYB. If you do want to jump in and use this code, that'll get you 25% off on your first month using PropsMadness. Let's kick it off here with this game right here. This Phoenix Suns and the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm sorry, man. I don't have much for this Kings and Pacers game right now. These two teams are just brutal. But for the Suns and the Timberwolves, I do think we're going to be able to find some value if Dillon Brooks is out. We already know that Devin Booker's out probably another week or so. So there's a couple guys I'm looking at here. If Dillon Brooks is out, and let's do this both ways. Dillon Brooks being out, Dillon Brooks being in, because he's questionable for tomorrow. Let's say that he's out. If he's out, we've got Colin Gillespie, we've got Grayson Allen. They're both going to be looking at a nice bump in usage in addition to some pretty high minutes for both Gillespie and Grayson Allen. If we look at Gillespie to start, if you look at him this season when he's playing without Brooks and without Booker, both of them not on court, he's at about 19 points, 9 assists, just 3 boards, but 9 assists, 19 points. Grayson Allen, on the other hand, 27 points, 2 boards, 5 assists. I think Colin Gillespie is going to be doing the bulk of the sort of playmaking, the ball handling and point guard play in this one, especially with Dillon Brooks out. Like, that's Gillespie's role with Brooks there, but when Dillon Brooks is on the floor, it's just whatever he wants to do this season for the Phoenix Suns on offense, as he's taking a ton of shots, and his usage percentage, especially without Devin Booker, has been 34%, 38%, 37%, right? Like, he's been taking all the shots without Booker. If he's gone, man, there is a lot to go around. So both these guys are going to be looking probably at pretty decent 20-plus point games for Gillespie and Grayson Allen. What's Gillespie's assists at? These just came up. 5.5. I mean, look, this is not a great matchup by any stretch of the imagination here with the Minnesota Timberwolves. If we look at their defensive rating right now on the season, they're 15th. Still, they're going to be able to shut everything down out on the 3-point line because they know they have Rudy Gobert behind them should guys get by them. There's nobody that they're worried about getting by them, I would imagine. I mean, Allen and Gillespie are going to be good spot-up shooters. Gillespie's been pretty good driving, but he's definitely kicking out more on the drives than he is scoring. And that's going to be probably what he has to do in this one, which is why I probably lean towards the assist before the points for Gillespie. If you look at the way that the Timberwolves play defense and limit stuff, they are not double teaming, right? They're not giving up much off the spot up, but I don't think that Gillespie's going to have much of a choice but to pass when he gets into the lane. And he's not necessarily really going to score too much off of the pull up either, right? And this is how you want to beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. You want to shoot off the pull up. You want to be a guy who's dribbling and driving. That is how you score against them, but I would still prefer the assist for him. And look, the 20 plus, like I said, if Dillon Brooks is out, 16.5 is still good because I do think that like he and Grayson Allen are capable of 20-plus point games in this one. They just need to keep it close. And this thing is at 10 points right now. If you're worried about a blowout, then you're not going to love those bets too much. But I think even if you do feel there's a blowout incoming for Minnesota, Mark Williams should be out there for minutes, man. He's in the starting lineup right now. He only played the 25 minutes against he played 17 rather in this last game against the Rockets. They lost by 19. I don't think they expected much out of that one. But if you look at the last game against the Timberwolves, in part because they're playing with Rudy, with Naz Reid, with Julius Randle, all these bigs, Mark Williams is crucial in this matchup. So in this last game, he played 26 minutes in their 1-point win, got a decent amount of usage there with 9 shots. The boards for him in that one were only at 8. So yeah, 8. I thought this might open at 8.5. If we get this at 7.5, I think it's a really good play for Mark Williams. He doesn't have much of a sample size playing without Booker and Brooks off court. But I will say when he's played without even just Dillon Brooks off court, he's at about 14 rebounds per 36 minutes. So Dillon Brooks being out, I think we still are okay for a double-double for Mark Will here. Plus 250 because the boards are at 8.5, and this is a really tough matchup. But I'm not too scared of that. I think that's a pretty good look here for Mark Williams. As like I said, he'll be in the starting lineup. It'll be him, Gillespie, Allen, Royce O'Neal, and I think probably Ryan Dunn. sneaks into the starting lineup as well. On the other side here, man, there's a lot of good stuff, but it's all really, really high. And I mean, this is not an easy matchup with Phoenix. If Dillon Brooks is in, it's a lot harder. If Dillon Brooks is out, maybe it's a bit easier. But either way, we know that they're going to be, for guys like Ant, it's not necessarily the best matchup. You can see they're fourth, limiting the pick and roll ball handler points. It didn't really seem to matter. It's Ant. Like, he sort of supersedes any of this stuff. He's at 28.5 now. If you think this game is close, then 30 plus makes sense without the Dillon Brooks defense. I just don't have much for it. I do think that the blowout kind of scares you a little bit, and no guys being out for the Wolves doesn't really give us much of an edge either way. But let's go to this model here. Let's take a look at Phoenix, and we're still going to see Dillon Brooks listed as in because he hasn't been listed out yet, right? He was listed in last game, so we still have that as his injury status is in until we get the definitive tag of out, which we'll see if that happens tomorrow. Let's say that Dillon Brooks is in. This is what the model is looking at here. 35 minutes for him, 33 for Royce O'Neal. Let me actually filter that so it's by most, right? And then we're going to have Grayson Allen, also Colin Gillespie, all in the 30s. Mark Will is splitting time at center with guys like Nick Richards, and we've seen Iguodaro play the center position as well. So it's tough to really feel good about more than 25 for him, but I still think that's a good look. And the 12.5 points, about 8 rebounds, that's what I was saying. 7.5 is a great look, but I think the minutes for him, they should stick to 25. I don't know about the rebounds. I guess the points are really what I like more than anything from Mark Will. If we're going in on him on the minutes, I think he's good for another like 9 to 10 shots. That's where I'd be looking for him. For Grayson and for Colin Gillespie here, I mean, they're at about 16 points each, but like I'm saying, I think the 32 minutes should be about 18 and a half. That feels, and you're getting a little bit of a depression, I should say. The reason they're not, their lines aren't at 17 and a half, which they would be at with Dillon Brooks's questionable tag normally, is because of this matchup, right? With the Timberwolves. It definitely keeps things, the projections and the lines down a little bit for them. But this is what we're looking at here for Phoenix, and this is with Dillon. So if you take Dillon Brooks out, keep that in mind. Take Dillon Brooks out. If he does not play, this 16 points, you've got to start spreading around a few points, a few shots, usage to go everywhere because he's the number one usage guy. Like I said, almost 40% usage without Devin Booker over the last 4 games. So if he's out and all those shots now need to be spread out to guys like Allen, to O'Neal, to Gillespie, you're probably going to get a bit of a bump. I think we're going to get some value there, right? Like I think 2.2 extra points without Dillon Brooks is very reasonable for both Allen and Gillespie. If you consider they're each going to take 2 to 3 more shots, Gillespie will have the ball in his hands a little bit more as well. The 5 assists right here that they have listed for him probably should bump that up one, or at least a couple potential assists without Dillon Brooks, who has had the ball in his hands so much that it really takes away from guys like O'Neal and Gillespie. So just a quick look at that would tell me, like, just right now with Dillon Brooks in, we're going to get an edge if he's out for sure on 16 and a half. And I don't think it'll go up too much higher for Allen and Gillespie. Let's see what happens to that tomorrow. Let's take a look at Minnesota too and just see where they're at in terms of the minutes. Guys playing the most. It's going to be tough for them because they've had guys in and out and they've blown out a number of teams. So Anthony Edwards' minutes have seemed down, but I think 27 to 28 points is the most reasonable projection for him. I think that's what everybody's going to have. And if you do think this is going to be a blowout, then you might want to go under on that and consider that he might not have to play quite as many minutes in this game because they're now missing Dillon Brooks and Devin Booker. But as we look at guys like Julius Randle and I think Rudy, this is all be about 29 to 30 for the starters. And I consider it a double-double for Rudy as well. We've got him at 11 and a half and 10 and a half. Let's see what that number is for him. That's the only thing I really would consider for Minnesota as I get back to that. The double-double is still 2-1. And I mean, he did that nice and easy last time, 12 points. And what were the boards? He had like 13 boards or something to that effect. 12 and 12. That's what he got last game in 35 minutes. If this game is at all close, he's going to play, low 30s, and then we're going to have him in a decent matchup. I mean, Mark Williams isn't pushover by any means, but just had his way with him last time. Both these centers did really well last game. I think the double-double for Rudy at 2-1, it's still going to be good. I don't know if that'll be there by tomorrow. I would consider even hitting that overnight. It's only available on DraftKings, so I think it'll get bet down. Even at plus 150 or so, that's probably where I see this ending up here on Monday. I think plus 150 or so is a good number to take a double-double for Rudy in this one. Before we get to Pelicans and Spurs, want to remind y'all that Novig is currently still the sportsbook of the month on LanderBets.com. Also throwing Kalshi in there for this month. So if anybody wants to jump into Kalshi, use code LYB. The link is in the description of the video, just like Novig. Those are 2 sportsbook exchanges. So you can bet against your peers. Don't necessarily have to bet against the sportsbooks if you don't want to with these. You can set your own lines and then bet against the lines that other people are setting for as well. If you do sign up for either of these books, Novig or Kalshi, go ahead and email us, support@landerbets.com. We'll get you your first month in the VIP section of the website there for free. We'll get you that first month free for either Novik or Kalshi. And if you do sign up for both, happy to give you one for each of them there. And your first 2 months at that point would be free if you do want to get those. But code LYB, get all your bonus bets. Email us here at this address right there, and we'll go ahead and get you that free month. Spurs and Pelicans, and you got to love playing against the Pellies here for anybody. They're the second worst defense in the league right now. They're a bottom 5 team and top 5 team as far as teams that you would like to play with their pace and their awful defense. So let's look at some of these guys because we are going to have 2 big questionable tags here for the Spurs. Kornet is questionable. Just saw him miss a game. And then we've also got where's he? Yeah, Stefan Castle is questionable. He's not even on here right now because he's been out for a couple games. Stefan Castle is also questionable for this one. I don't know that Stefan Castle needs to come back against the Pelicans. Maybe they want to get him a really easy game to get him 15 to 20 minutes, but I wouldn't consider him a big deal in this one. So we still just need to say, look, Luke Kornet's legit questionable, and I think we move on as though Castle's not playing until we hear otherwise. That said, let's look at our boy Dylan Harper again to start because the look last game was assists. I couldn't get there without adding the points, and that really ruined it for myself. But hopefully y'all just took the assists like I talked about before that Cavs game. 6 assists, 11 potentials. And now he's up to about 8 assists per game, when he played, 8 assists per 36 minutes when he plays on the court at the same time as De'Aaron Fox, who has been back for all of these games that Dylan Harper's been back for since his injury. So I think the assists are still going to be a look. If we still get 3.5 once again at close, and this closed at minus 125 to the over, happy to take that. We'll probably see this open at 3.5 juice, like minus 140. This is a Pelicans team that you can get assists against. You can get you can get points however you want. You get tip it. Like they're just bad all over the court on defense, transition, half court, whatever. Assists are still going to be a good look. I imagine this goes up a little bit because he's been doing it in the last 3 games now. We've seen him when he's on court with De'Aaron Fox, like I said, continue to get a bunch of dimes. That would be where I'd go if we have 3.5. If this gets to 4.5, I don't know about the minutes with him. He hasn't been getting more than the 22 to 23. If this is a blowout win for the Spurs, maybe you like that. That could be one angle. Let's see what the assists come out at. 3.5 minus 140 still might be a play for me with a little ladder up to 5+ as he's been doing that so consistently. What were the potential? 7, 6, and 11. But yeah, I think this is going to be another probably like 8 to 9 potentials if he gets close to 25 minutes for Dylan Harper. Would probably stick to the assist, but if the points and assists, now because he was so bad on the points last game, if the points and assists are, maybe 15.5, 16.5, even 17.5, I'd probably still play that. I'd probably still be a sucker for the points. He's been taking so many shots, man. He took 11 shots. He went 1 for 11. And that's my projection is like 12 shots for Dylan Harper, man. I think the points and assists are still playable, but love the 3.5 if we get that on the dimes for him. Let's look at Keldon Johnson. We played him last game on the PR. If we get 18.5, I'm happy to go back to that. Maybe it goes up to 19.5. He's at about 25 minutes. That's the thing, is he's really not getting more than 25. And I thought he might without Kornet and without Wemby. Thought it was likely that we'd get Keldon Johnson up in the minutes. Maybe he would have played a few more against Cleveland than 25 if they really needed to sort of stick with the game at the end. Obviously, they were able to pull their starters a little bit early. He's not a starter, but I think he's going to be someone who plays closing minutes a lot as he is trusted a ton by this staff. But I still think even if he does play the normal 25 minutes, this is going to be still good at about 18, 19.5 PR. Let's see if we get that for Keldon Johnson. And then one more look that I would have here without Castle, if we don't get him in this one. I mean, Jeremy Sohan is the same. He's been getting over on the really low line. 7.5 points versus Cleveland was the line. 4.5 rebounds. Went over on both of those, and he's also good for 25 minutes. Had 17 rebound chances in that game, and that was against the Cavs, who are a much better rebounding team than are the New Orleans Pelicans, as we know, and really just better on all over the floor. So if his PR is in the same vein of about 12.5, even 13.5, I think he should be at about 15. I still like both he and Keldon Johnson, even if Luke Kornet is out there. And if Luke Kornet is not out there, those numbers are great. If Luke Kornet is out there, I still think those are the beatable numbers for him. All right, y'all, that is all the time I have for you in this one. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Nate also has his NFL video for Monday Night Football up, so make sure you check that out. I will be back here for everything you need for the NBA Cup on Tuesday. And until I see y'all next, happy betting.